Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh claims that Trump is not in the Epstein files and goes viral. Elon Musk claims that Trump is behind the lack of the release of the Epstein files. Trump travel ban goes viral on social media. BMW continue to make the Z4 sports car. And a chainsaw is being recalled because it might, burst into flames. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase, with Picatinny rail adapters so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, BMW continue to make their Z4 sports car. And thankfully, I do not need to give a visual disclaimer on this part of the show because it looks amazing. Nice little sports coupe and a nice green paint job, though a little bit of a darker, more of a forest green. Preferably, I like the brighter tones, but shoot, not too shabby BMW. And if I won the lottery and had unlimited money for maintenance, which you kind of need for BMW, I'd probably pick myself up one. Now, this is credited to, again, Motor1.com, Brian Silvestrito specifically, and he says, quote, BMW to keep making the Z4 because people keep buying them. The Z4 was expected to end production this year. Now it might stay afloat until May 2026. Huzzah, which is a word I don't think anyone uses more than twice a year, but a great Scrabble word nevertheless. Now, he says, quote, I need to bring up the most beautiful thing about this car. Let me put that on the screen. In an era of automation, electric cars, and automatic dual clutch, XY Banana Falcon transmissions, there are some that prefer the pure enthusiast experience, aka having 3 pedals, also known as a manual transmission, which, oh, it's glorious. It's so rare to see it. Less than 30 cars in the United States that you can be bought new with a stick shift, but the BMW Z4 is one of them. Now, it does have that stupid little circle navigation thingamajig controller on the armrest, which I think is stupid, but it does have the nice stick shift with 6 gears of glory right there. And it's the M Coupe, so you got that nice little M there. Little details that make me smile, but nevertheless. Now, they say, quote, the BMW Z4 might be sticking around a little longer than expected. The German roadster was rumored to bow out in October 2025. The report backdated to 2023 suggested production would be extended to March next year. A new rumor claims the Z4 production will be stretched even further to May 2026, but only for American sports car markets. BMW blog cited a trusted source at the BeamerHost forums saying the production of the US specifications Z4 M40i, the only trim available with a manual transmission, aka the only one that should be available that you should actually want, has been expended another 2 months. The source didn't cite a reason for the extension, but we can make a couple of educated guesses. Well, I want to say customer demand, adoy, but nevertheless, they're more eloquent than that. They say that, quote, sales of the Z4 jumped 13.1% in 2024 after BMW finally made the manual transmission available for the United States. A spokesman confirmed to Motor One earlier this year that the stick shift absolutely contributed to the Z4 sales growth. The response has been wonderfully enthusiastic, they said, which, yeah, I mean, every BMW M Coupe, every BMW M car, even SUVs, I would argue, should have a stick shift. Porsche did that, and it was awesome. They've done it a couple years, but yeah, Porsche SUV with a stick shift, it's a thing. On used lots now. Now they say, quote, upon seeing the increase in sales, BMW likely decided to keep the Z4 around a bit longer, and the manual is expected to disappear from the company's lineup entirely by 2030. So then BMW needs to get fired. The company potentially predicts sales will continue as buyers snag the very last manual Z4s before they are gone forever. The same BeamerPost source claims that May 2026 is also when production of the Toyota Supra will end. Wild parallels. Avid enthusiasts will know that the Supra and Z4 share the platform and are made in the same assembly line by Magna Steyr in Austria, which, yeah, spoiler, in this case, you have the manufacturers, or in this case, OEM, you have Toyota and BMW, the designers kind of telling this manufacturer what to do, and then they slap on different, different placards and different logos on it. Very, very similar to Toyota and Subaru with the BRZ, also known as the Toyota 86. So in that case, it is a Subaru factory, but it is the same vehicle, but different badging and slightly different pieces of plastic, or if you want to be fancy, plastique glued onto it. Though I'm sure they use nice 3M adhesive. Now they say that, quote, any advice? If you want a manual Z4, go grab one while you still can because time is running out. Now, this is an instance where I hope BMW changes their mind, maybe gets a new, smarter CEO who actually knows what enthusiasts want. We've seen a couple of companies backpedal when it comes to their commitments to going all EV because, again, they see the consumer demand where it wants to be. I think, again, maybe I'm just foolishly optimistic, but I do think BMW will eventually backtrack because there's a not insignificant portion of the market that likes having 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission, and having a little fun when they drive. It also is great to have a halo car, even if it's not a high volume of units being sold, to show that there's the peak engineering capabilities, and also would argue, the racing heritage and enthusiast heritage of BMW. So hopefully they change their mind and they keep the stick shift around for as long as I'm alive. And someday I'll win the lottery, maybe I'll even be able to buy BMW. But to me, this is great news. Again, enthusiasts will gobble these up. I hope too many are not thrown into garages and treated as investment, pieces of stuff. As some people think they'll go up in value and treat it like a stock, which gets a car, drive the damn thing. But let me know. I know obviously I'm a gearhead enthusiast, so I prefer having everything with 3 pedals. But do you think the sales for this car will be so great this year they'll extend the deadline even further? Not just for the stick shift, but also this vehicle in particular. And out of curiosity, have you seen any of these on the road? I think anecdotally, I've only seen maybe one in the past couple of years. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Cultural Prod podcast, I have Matt Walsh saying that Trump is not on the Epstein files and going viral on social media. Now, this is brought to us, obviously, thanks to Matt Walsh on X. And I was going to say, I can't do his voice. I could attempt, but I'd fail. I'd also need, a thicker beard and a flannel shirt to truly embody him. But nevertheless, he tweeted, quote, "It's totally inconceivable that there would be something incriminating about Trump in the Epstein files, and yet the Democrats kept that information to themselves for all these years. Sure, you could say that they also have incriminated evidence in the files, but so what? They would have just released that part of the incriminated Trump, released the part that, and destroyed the redacted the rest. Does anyone think that the Democrats are above pulling a move like that? No. The only possible reason they don't release the dirt on Trump is that there is no dirt to release. Trump is the most thoroughly vetted politician in American history. There is no corner of his life that his enemies haven't ripped open for the public view, and yet they've kept this a secret? Absurd." True. Getting 2.6 million views and 56,000 likes, which, yeah, is one of those things where Matt Walsh, in this case, I think is 150% correct. Because again, they have looked over every rocket and every nook and cranny for Trump's history and even made some stuff up. What was it? The crazy gal in New York with the allegations around sexual harassment. They changed the law in New York for the statute of limitations and then had her file that sexual harassment case without any evidence. And again, he just settled outside of court, or settled, so I'm going to go to trial to make it go away. And she had no evidence. They changed the law just to go after him in New York over the fact that they're both in a department store decades ago. That was the only thing that was known in that case. He walked in that building and she walked in that building, apparently. And yet they changed the law to try to go after him. There's been more lawfare against Trump than any other politician in U.S. history. So yeah, if there's some magical secret sauce, they would have released it by now. Because again, they were trying everything possible, legal and illegal, to get rid of him. I would also argue, we'll see if we ever really know who is behind trying to take his life. That's another way they're trying to get rid of Trump. But yeah, Matt Walsh is 110% correct, 150% correct with his assessment. There's been one instance of him being on Epstein's plane, but it was not the Lolita Express. It wasn't going to the island. It was actually going to, I think it was it Florida to New York? It's one of those interstate travels. I mean, for years, there's a rumor of, oh my gosh, there's a video of Trump saying the N-word. It's been years, not a single evidence has been shown about that. Everyone was talking about it for a while. And again, which is why I firmly believe that does not exist. If that existed, they would have brought it up to the forefront during the primary. If not, okay, let's say they wait till he won the primary just to kind of nuke the Republican, the whole party. Well, as soon as he got the nomination, why didn't they release it then? So yeah, I'm of the firm belief if they had the evidence, they would have used it to prevent Trump from becoming president and released it after he won the primary. That's just my 3 cents. Used to be 2 cents, but 4-year hyperinflation, gotta be 3 cents. Now, let's go to the comments. One of the first ones comes to us, again, Matt Walsh actually continued saying, quote, "We're supposed to believe that the intelligence agencies who've been trying to destroy Trump for 10 years, had this information but couldn't figure out how to get it out there without publishing the entire file and burning all the names on it. Come on. Getting 11,000 likes and 370 responses. What was it? Was he ratioed? He was not. Ryan Bengal did reply saying, quote, "You only believe what you want to believe. Use some effing common sense. If the Democrats release the files and only implicated Trump, everyone like yourself would say that declares the files are false and not believe them." Getting 36 likes. No, I mean, that evidence was there. It was, actual solid. I think they would have released it. The gas stove, our favorite contrarian, although they did not get as many comments. They're usually the #1 response comment ratio in terms of they'll, make a response and they'll have hundreds of responses because it's such a contrarian account. However, the gas stove in this case only got 6 comments. He said simply, then release it, getting 150 likes. Someone by the name of Alexandria Spears says Democrats already wanted to be released. I don't think so. Again, the Democrats are in power. I mean, Biden could have done it, or more accurately, one of his handlers could have done it or signed off on it with the auto pen. I was going to say, Jason, he's on fire this week. He does, yet again, the Ask Grok, the assessment of the situation, in a Jamaican accent, which is probably the worst Jamaican accent you'll hear all year, but I shall attempt. So Jason says, quote, "Grok, can you please explain this in a Jamaican accent?" In which Grok says, "Yo, man, come on, listen up, the Epstein files. Them got no solid proof that Trump did nothing wrong, His name pop up in flight logs, true, but nothing saying he broke the law. Matt Walsh making some sense. Trump's enemies would have dropped any dirt fast, see? Still some folks whispered on unreleased files, but that's just chat, no evidence, man. The paper's out now from New York Magazine and the Washington Post say no big deal about Trump. Social media hype like just noise, nothing solid. Still, if more files hiding could stir up things up, but for now, it's clean, y'all. Yeah, keep y'all real, man." Which, again, might be the worst Jamaican accent you hear maybe all decade, but nevertheless, the attempt was made and that got 274 likes. Not me, but, the Grok reinterpretation of this analysis. You also have some rocket guy saying, quote, "Then Trump should release them. Why hasn't he?" Getting 1.4 thousand likes. That'd be nice, too. If Trump would just release all the files, I'm sure it implicates a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats. I think they should release every damn one of them. Drain the swamp. Click that button, Trump. I want him to release it. Now, you also have Kay with, geez Louise. Her, it's fascinating how so many Americans have such a fascination with Ukraine. I mean, her profile is Kay with, how many is that? 1, 2, so she's got 5, she's got 6 flags in her profile, maybe appropriate, maybe a ratio that's indicative of her mentality or her loyalty. She has 5 Ukrainian flags in her profile name and 1 United States flag, and then 2 blue hearts, and she says F Putin. And her profile description is, "Comment on my Ukrainian flags or Ukraine, cool. Now I know you've lost the argument before you even started. Try debating ideas next time, not pixels." Oh, my debate would be, why do you want to give them $180 billion for a place that you can't point to on a map that will have no implication on your life? Yeah, I'm not cheering for Russia. I'm just saying, why are you stealing more of our tax dollars and giving it to countries that don't affect us, really? And we still have homeless veterans, people are starving in the United States, broken roads. Yeah, I think we should cut down the foreign aid. But another topic from the time, perhaps, well, she's a contrarian, so obviously I'm going to follow her because life's more interesting when you have contrarian comments. Now, she says, quote, "If there's nothing incriminating, they would have already released them." Getting 416 likes. Well, I think there is incriminating things about a lot of Democrats and Republicans who still have jobs. I bet they're still in office. Now, the Big Cheese, this New York? Well, appropriately enough, they do have a profile picture of a piece of cheese. Big Cheese says, quote, "This post is paid for by Israel." Getting 493 likes. Rolanda Deshawn says, quote, "You're probably right. Best thing to do is release the files immediately to clear everything up." Yeah. Yes. Getting 986 likes. You have Lucky Tyke 2 saying, quote, "And just like that, Democrats and liberals are demanding for the files to be released." 5D Chess getting 47 likes. Doge.ai says, "Epstein files are a classic DC distraction, all smoke, no fire. After years of relentless scrutiny, audits, and leaks targeting Trump, the absence of credible evidence speaks volumes. Remember the retracted accusations and debunked lawsuits? Political operatives would have weaponized any shred of dirt by now. This isn't about justice, it's about smearing a leader who threatens the swamp. Meanwhile, bureaucrats fund billions into pet projects while media fixates on decade-old gossip. Real corruption? Look at agencies like the FBI ignoring threats while chasing partisan narratives. Trump's vetted, cleared, and still living rent-free in their heads. Parties people getting 156 likes. For American Politics also says, quote, they raided Melania's underwear drawer, but they drew the line at leaking the Epstein files, getting 295 likes. Kai Guns Top Gal says, quote, then you should release them. Well, what's the deal if he's innocent? Getting 1,000 likes. Let's see here. Mind Logs says you forgot the point that some prominent Democrat funders might be on the Epstein files list too, so it might be a lose-lose situation. Also have Gentile News getting 1.7 thousand likes for this particular comment. Now he says, quote, this is such a bad take. The Democrats can't release the files because they're on the list too. LMFAO. Wouldn't be surprised. Getting 1.7 thousand likes. So yeah, I can't but think. Yeah, they're can't but think Trump is innocent. But again, it'd be nice if he actually released every one of those damn files. But yeah, as I always say, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Elon Musk and Trump fighting, and Elon now saying Trump's choosing not to release the Epstein files. Now, brought to us appropriately enough straight from Elon Musk on X, in which he says, quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Hashtag, or even tag Trump. It's getting personal, as they might say. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. It's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. I got 192.3 million views and 1.1 million likes, which is quite a few to say the least. Elon's he's actually the first comment, says, quote, mark this post to the future. The truth will come out, getting 379,000 likes. Now, they've been fighting back and forth, which, to give Trump credit, I think he's the first president in my lifetime to say no to his biggest donor. Can't but think the odds of a Democrat or, yeah, a bureaucrat doing that in general is not zero, but 0.00725% approximately. Not a real statistic. But yeah, they've been fighting back and forth because Elon does not like the big, beautiful bill, as Trump would call it, because it doesn't cut enough, which I agree. They should be doing more cuts, but there are also some good things in there. Tom Anderson, the OG MySpace creator, he's still around. Hashtag MySpace Tom. Now he says, quote, I made this with Grok, and it's Elon Musk and Donald Trump in a WWE ring in the leotards about to wrestle, getting 23,000 likes. Alex Jones says, quote, well, it's been a little while, but I could attempt Alex Jones' accent. Trump needs to respond ASAP. I noticed that he did not take questions on his public meeting today. God help us all. Which, yeah, that's probably the worst Alex Jones impression, maybe. But the attempt was made. They got 88,000 likes. Clown World says, quote, I was offline for just a few hours, came back to see this mess. Elon and Trump going nuclear at each other is the last thing we need right now. It's like we're watching the whole movement end itself in real time. Could we please dial back before it's too late? 2.7 thousand likes. Harry Sisson, that creepy little SOB. Now, he says, quote, this beef is the greatest thing ever, getting 16,000 likes. AKA says, wildest fight of all time, getting 300 likes. Tara Bull says, do you believe Trump is in the Epstein files? And there's a poll of 71,292 votes with a yes or no option. 56.9% said yes, and 43.1% said no. That got 538 likes. You also have Human. I haven't seen that leftist guy in a while. But again, life gets a little bit boring if you're in an echo chamber, so I follow him. He has his name is called Human, which is just what an AI bot would say. But nevertheless, he has the peace sign, the American flag, the Ukrainian flag, blue wave emojis all in his profile, which anytime someone has emojis, wherever the hell they are in their name, I'm always a little, as a youth might say, sus, which thanks to the Urban Dictionary, I know means suspicious. Now, he says, quote, we've been posting this for 9 damn years, get banned, trolled, and called everything crazy. But if we got the files and let them rip, should have dropped them before the con man got back into the country. They got 885 likes. Raw Egg Nationalist said, quote, is this true? Gained 5.5 thousand likes, and he asked Grok. Now, Grok says, quote, evidence shows Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files, flight logs, part of Epstein files, but there's no indication of wrongdoing. The files were released by Trump's administration on February 27th, 2025, contradicting claims that they were protecting him in 22,000 likes. Jay says Elon is the new CNN. Trump was on the plane, established knowledge, but never went to the island. Elon thinking he landed a big shot is a joke. And this is 10-year-old news, getting 6.7 thousand likes. The quartering, I can't believe it. He's saying something without talking about coffee. Now that is a rare thing. I need to screenshot this. This is a first. Now, in all seriousness, I think he does some great work, and it's awesome he has that entrepreneur with his coffee company as well. No, he says, quote, so you're saying you massively worked with a pedo and kept this a secret? This smells like a massive lawsuit, my man. Getting 8.3 thousand likes. That's a good point too. Trump does like the lawsuits. I'm gonna sue his ass into the Stone Age for defamation of my awesome character. Which, I mean, Trump didn't say that yet, but he might. You simply have Greg posting the SpongeBob and Patrick looking a fat, flabbergasted look. You have not Josh Firestein saying, quote, so you knew all along you were just going to be totally cool with it, so long as you got what you wanted, question mark, getting 13,000 likes. David Harris says, you just lost all credibility, Elon, getting 20,000 likes. Which, yeah, if Elon really believes that, then he worked with Trump. And if he doesn't, he just is throwing shade, as they might say, then doesn't look good either. And I can't but think Elon is having a very overly emotional response. Again, I agree. I understand that he doesn't like the big, beautiful bill because, again, it adds to the deficit. I'm not a fan of that. I think we need to cut back on a lot of our spending. I do like some things like the hearing, gets the suppressors off the NFA, maybe get short barrel rifles off the NFA Act 1934. There are some things I like, but yeah, Elon, I think, is going about this in the worst possible way. You also have RT saying, quote, I call BS if Trump were in the Epstein files. Why wouldn't Comey or Wray leak them? Why was there a Russian collusion case if he was in the files? This makes no sense. Getting 2.4 thousand likes. Brick suit, which A+ not only doesn't wear a suit, but it is also brick pattern, so A+ marketing. He says, quote, if President Trump were in the files in any significant way, the Democrats would have already released them. That's how you know there's nothing major there. Getting 16,000 likes, and yeah, kind of parallels my assessment of the situation as well. Vince Langman says, quote, if you think that President Trump is in the Epstein files and Biden's Gestapo DOJ kept it a secret, then I have a lovely condo in downtown Gaza I'd like to sell you. Getting 9.2 thousand likes. Which, yeah, trying to find more contrarian statements, but it's kind of overall the same assessment. Graham Allen says no seriousness of the acquisition to accusation to post without evidence, no evidence. Drop the evidence now, or Trump is going to sue you into oblivion, getting 12,000 likes. 100, wow. Onion? A lot of people respect the Onion. Well, not the Onion. This is literally a profile called Onion Person. Perhaps they're very proud of that vegetable. It's a vegetable, right? Never really think about that ADHD thought of the day. This alleged Onion says, quote, if you knew this, then why did you willingly work with this PDF? Getting 105,000 likes, which I think that's actually the top comment to the second to none. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Elon in terms of why he's saying these things. I mean, in terms of disagreeing with someone's political plan or bill, this is going about it in the worst possible way. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have Trump's travel ban going viral on social media. Oh no, our vacation plans are ruined. Now, this is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X, in which he says, quote, breaking Trump signs full travel ban for 12 countries, including bans from Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, country and a cool guy apparently, Congo, Eritrea, Haiti, they make t-shirts, I know them, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Equatorial Guinea. And he says, now we also have restrictions for the following countries: Burundi, Cuba, which, I mean, most Cubans would never ever go back anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Laos, Sierra Leone, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, and Togo. And this one finally got 3 million views and 41,000 likes, with one of the first comments coming to us thanks to our favorite contrarian, the gas stove. Though not really a gas stove, I don't think they can type. Though with the Internet of Things and everything being connected to the Wi-Fi and talking to China, maybe it is talking to us, but I only partially jest. The gas stove says, quote, Trump is the most Islamophobic president in U.S. history, full stop. I don't know where that came from, but it got 141 likes. Now, Echoed Congo responded saying, quote, it's great, exactly what we voted for. Jeez Louise. Don't agree with that assessment, but he did say it, getting 99 likes. I'm going to try to pronounce his name, but I'm not going to get it right. Stanislavia Kuznetsov, maybe? It simply says good, getting 133 likes. Protestant Nightcrawler says, yes, and we don't want Islam here, getting 26 likes. Mr. Bob Dolian says, quote, you should go live in one of those places, getting 21 likes as well. Northern Perspective says, quote, because he recognizes evil, getting 13 likes. Gary Michael Vorse says, unlike all the other popular phobias that are total full BS, fear of Islam is absolutely a correct thing, getting 10 likes. So it was not ratioed by number of likes, but certainly by number of comments and volume of comments. Going back to the main comment section, Valentina Gomez says, quote, wonderful, they're not wanted here. None of them will ever assimilate Western culture nor respect American values. Getting 2.1 thousand likes, which, that's just ridiculous, Miss Gomez. Look at Minnesota. I mean, Minneapolis is, a melting pot. They all wave American flags, have our values, speak our language. That's a joke because obviously Minnesota imported a lot of Somalians, so much so that they redesigned the Minnesota flag so that it looks like a rudimentary crayon child interpretation of the Somalian flag. So, as Trump would probably say, Minnesota used to have a beautiful flag. It was around for decades, very ornate, handcrafted. It was beautiful art. Then they have this crap that looks like it's from Somalia. Could have done better with a crayon. Because it's a weak, conquered state, many would say, including myself. And Tim Walz is just seemingly making it worse because they have not assimilated. It's basically Somalia. When Miss Omar is at rallies, they don't speak English. You also have Gunther Eagleman says, quote, do you support travel ban? Getting 6.2 thousand likes. Barefoot Pregnant simply says, no more open door policies, letting in risk disguised as immigrants. We have like a 1940s style drawing. It says, enjoy an ice cold glass of deportation with Trump holding the glass, getting 325 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, great story. Now let's deport all the illegals from this country, make them a priority. Getting 263 likes. Which, I'm a little biased, obviously, but my family did come here legally, and we all learned English pretty quick. I mean, my mom didn't even speak Spanish growing up, but I partially digress. We're from Cuba. And we didn't swim there. Got one of the last planes out when Fidel took over. Fun fact of the day. Isaac says, quote, anyone want to bet and see how many judges crash out and try to ban Trump from doing this? Getting 515 likes. And Delium says, quote, it's a shame that Minnesota isn't on that list too. Getting 2,000 likes. Ed Credit parody account simply says, quote, Donald Trump hates black people. It's getting more and more obvious every single day. Got 178 likes and 177 responses. One of the first responses is from Jess saying, hey, Ed, did you lose that rubber band around your testes yet? Getting 54 likes. Jason simply says, you're a retard. That's becoming more and more clear every day, getting 27 likes. Which, again, these people aren't realizing this is, again, a parody account of Ed Krasenstein. Neg says, Iranians aren't black. Cubans aren't black. I don't think I am. Obviously, we're not. Turkmenistans aren't black. Venezuelans aren't black. And you are an idiot, getting 36 likes. And I don't know if that's, it's got to be slang. Idiot is not a word, right? I know it's supposed to be a cool, hip way of saying idiot, I guess. Going back to the main comment section, the conservative alternative says, quote, we could possibly go a step further and put a moratorium on all immigration until we carry out mass deportations. Might sound controversial, but it's not unreasonable. Getting 409 likes. But yeah, there's so many border crossings when Biden and Harris were in office. I mean, there's some historians saying that they think it is one of the top 3 of all times in terms of mass migrations. It was that big. Voted for this says, quote, it's not about hate, it's about order. You can't have a country if you import instability and pretend it's compassion, getting 89 likes. Kat says, am I the only one who wished China was on the list too? Getting 230 likes. Not a bad idea. Combat Jedi says, quote, so what do we do about the Muslims already here? Look at Minnesota for FFS, which thanks again to the Urban Dictionary, I know means for F's sake. Well, I try to keep it moderately family friendly. The F word. Now, Matt Van Swole says, quote, called this 3 days ago. And he says, quote, remember when President Trump received so much hate for his quote-unquote Muslim ban? Turns out that Trump was right about everything, literally everything. We have a violent immigration problem in this country. That got 525 likes, again, credited to Matt Van Swole. A couple of people are using AI to have pictures of Trump in a suit, and it's just calling him the MAGA King, getting 24 to 50 likes. Politic Rican, parody account, Puerto Rican flag, says, voted for this, getting 76 likes. Sean Farish says, quote, this is phenomenal, getting 163 likes. So, a couple contrarian comments, but again, it still seems like vast, overwhelming support. But let me know in the comments, do you think this would actually be a net benefit to our country? Do you think there actually is too much immigration in general? Do you think we should be importing people who have similar ideologies to the Founding Fathers, United States American values? And I mean, Trump, surprisingly, it wasn't a thing until recently. He just made English the official language of the United States. Do you think that should be a requirement to come here in order to gain citizenship? Like, as always, let me know your thoughts because it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have a chainsaw being recalled because it might, burst into flames. Now, this is brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, perhaps the only useful government website, granted, pretty low bar, in which they say, quote, DR Power Equipment recalls battery-powered chainsaws due to fire and burn hazards. Whoops. And I was told the electric chainsaws are the future. They're great for everything. Yeah, spoiler, they're not. As a wise man once said, there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs. There's some things they're good at and some they're not, but if I had my choice, it'd be a gas chainsaw. Now, they say, quote, it's recall it. Oh, that's going to be a lot of chainsaws. It's going to affect 7,180 units, as well as 21 that were sold into Canada. Now, they note that, quote, the motor controller of the recalled chainsaw can overheat during operation, posing a fire and burn hazards. Whoops. They say that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled chainsaws and contact DR Power for a refund. Consumers will receive a prorated refund for the chainsaw tool based on the chainsaw's age. Consumers will need to show proof of the chainsaw's destruction by uploading a photograph in accordance with destruction instructions and filling out the recall form online. For instructions on destroying the chainsaw, visit drpower.com/bpc-recall. If consumers choose to dispose of the recalled chainsaw's lithium-ion battery, consumers should recycle the lithium-ion batteries in accordance with local and state regulations. Now, unfortunately, there's been, some instances, though, thankfully, no one's been hurt. They note that, quote, the firm has received 20 reports of incidents of fire, sparks, and or smoke. However, no injuries or deaths have occurred. And these are also sold online at independent power equipment stores nationwide through June 2018 through June 2024 for between, geez Louise, people are spending this much for a EV chains for a battery powered chainsaw. Geez Louise, these are sold for between $200 and $350. They're imported by Generic Power Systems of Waukesha, Wisconsin. They're, of course, though, manufactured in China, as Trump would say. But again, at least the guy kind of got his situation in terms of no one's been hurt from this. But yeah, kind of ironic in terms of, well, you're cutting down wood with the chainsaw. Not just, I mean, that campfire just got that much quicker. It just all burst into flames. I'm like partially kidding. But yeah, there you can see the little big old battery bolted onto the bottom of that thing. But yeah, DR Power, gotta say, having a chainsaw that might burst into flames, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me make the show better and better. And lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.